This is Galactic Conversations, session 4 already.
4.
Session 4. So welcome. Sorry we skipped our Monday session. I was coming back from retreat, plus as far as I heard, it was a public holiday. I was not in awareness of that.
I also wasn't aware at all.
Had no idea. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed last week's session. And as you know, Justine and I just move on the fly here. There's pretty much zero planning, so we're just gonna go with the flow again.
And no discussions before.
Yeah.
Pre-discussions, no.
So we even have to kind of think back to where we were at last week. I know there was an ending of a discussion that we were going to go into, but I can't remember it. However,
I'm sure you've come up with a new topic.
The aspect of spiritual teachers speaking about what false light is, and I guess that's like a double topic. So it's like, what is false light? What is false light? You know, because some people will be like, okay, well, there's false light, and others that move through the law of one would go, well, it's impossible to have false light because everything is source. So there's that aspect. And then the other aspect of it is, you know, your spiritual teachers, your channelers, your guides, whoever you are getting your awakening information from, you know, potentially giving you warnings of things that you should not do, people you should not follow because of potential false light aspects. So I guess we can begin there.
Yes, how did this conversation come about? Where did this come? I'm interested to know where this dropped out of the ether.
I'll share. So again, we're going to go into vulnerable spaces here, and the vulnerable space for me, and it's not so vulnerable after this weekend because I've just come from medicine space. I've been out in the bush. I've been out in nature. I've been doing my medicine. I've been doing the work, and I'm in a different space. However, it came from the fact that I myself have been struggling with the spirit of tobacco for a long time. And because I am moving into more defined work within the process of what we call channeling, there are people within my tribe and my circle, and of course even my teachers, some of my teachers, that would say, you know, Brigitte, you really need to look at this thing and this aspect of yourself because it is an element that is adding to your vibration that is not pure. So I guess we're speaking from this purity perspective. You know, it's like vegans are this, and their body is clear because they don't eat any animal products, etc., etc., etc. But of course, my questioning lies in the fact that, you know, this is a medicine for me now because I just actually got quite a hiding from the spirit of tobacco. So, and I'll just share a little bit more of the story, is that the spirit of tobacco came to me in one of the sessions where I was looking at my tobacco addiction and kind of said, we're not asking you to quit tobacco. We're asking you to change your relationship and have a little bit of respect. Because the original...
I like that.
Yeah. You know, the original use of tobacco in ancient, you know, shamanic practices or tribal practices was to connect to the spirit world. I mean, tobacco was that first medicine, like, just used. And so I was very grateful for that. But then, of course, when you're listening to a specific teacher of yours or online that you've just come across, and it's like, if you are not pure angelic, then you're false light.
You know, this stuff makes me laugh sometimes.
Yeah, and so this is a really awesome conversation because, again, guys, just as an introduction, my name is Brigitte. I work predominantly as a medicine woman, working very focused within trauma release and helping people through their spiritual awakening. So I'd be some sort of spiritual guide in that aspect. Justine, on the other hand, would be you know, I've mentioned before in her last incarnation, and I guess we can chat about that a little bit as well. So, you know, we're dealing with two different levels of mastery here, like completely different levels of mastery, but both have something to teach. And of course, everywhere in between that is a plethora of teachers, each within our different coding, each with our own different opinions. And so, yeah, I mean, we're here to assist people to have their human experience in a multidimensional field.
Yeah, I love that perspective of that perspective, because it is a perspective, but then it's deeper when you explain the presence of the integrity of your intention. So first of all, I would like to mention on this program, Intergalactic Conversations, that I hear and not, my intention is not to try and convince anyone of my experiences. I reiterate and emphasize the words, what? My experiences.
Yeah.
So if anyone, because I know your tribe, I mean, I'm sure there are quite a few people that hang on, I have to wait for the right words here. There are quite a few people that have there are quite a few that have like a distinctive line, like a trail of belief systems, which is great. The essence of this program is to talk.
Yeah.
I like talking. Brigitte loves talking. Yeah, I like talking. She loves talking.
Yeah.
The essence of this Galactical Conversations is not to try and convince you of my experiences. Brigitte is like got her own teachings and what she does. That's her indaba.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you have your clan, your following. So I want to reiterate that if it does not resonate with you, we spoke about this in the first program, and we've mentioned it in the second. I did not mention it in the third.
No, I think you did.
Did I? Well, I'm going to say it again. If it does not resonate with you, people, don't watch it.
Yeah.
Move on to Justin Bieber or someone else. You know, whatever resonates with your vibration. But if it doesn't, if it's triggering you, then you ask yourself why it's triggering you. And if you have a different belief system, my belief system is based on my experiences. I don't ask the expert for answers. No. I have my own answers because of experience. And in every program, I've said, every conversation that is based on our communication is based on my personal experience. I don't speak for anybody else. So if anyone's going to get their tits in the tangle, I respect your belief systems, and if you think I'm not of the light or I'm whatever, I salute you. I honor you.
So I'm going to
don't have my life is too precious to worry about people that don't think I'm of the light or that I'm a false whatever. I'm not a prophet, or Brigitte calls me a master, and others have called me a master because they've experienced my work. So I'm going to reiterate again. If it doesn't resonate with you guys, don't, you know, it doesn't resonate. You've got your own belief systems. You've got your own teachers. Follow what resonates with you, you know? And because I my life is too precious to sit and, like, I'm not going to argue, or I'm not here to gain brownie points. I don't need that. So if it triggers you, or we have a difference of opinion, that's great. It's like art. You know, some people do art, pretty art. You know, pretty art. They do beautiful art, and they put it up on the wall, and they look at it every day, and it makes them feel good. That's about 60% of artists. The other 40% of artists create art as a form of activism. Not to answer the questions that humanity, or give the answers that humanity seek, but to pose questions. I'm the rebellious activist type. So if you fall in the other 60%, go watch Justin Bieber, or I don't know, Lily of the Light, or I don't know, whatever. Whatever tickles your boat.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing, I will be smoking and drinking on this program. So like I say, we should actually put what do you call it when you put in a
I can't think of the word now.
Yes, I had it now, but it just went.
Yeah, I can't think of the word now.
A disclaimer. The disclaimer of Galactical Conversations, because this is not your program, this is our program. And if you don't like it, I'm just go somewhere else. You know? So the disclaimer, Galactical Conversations, is that Justine Pistorius will drink her whiskey and will smoke her cigarettes. Thank you, everybody. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way.
No, for sure. But guys, I mean, those of you that are watching, the aspect that we're trying to communicate to you here is a carefree, authentic nature that we are sharing in this moment in time, myself and Justine, that you may happen to quantumly entangle yourself in, and it may trigger you. And again, our only sort of advice here is go ask yourself why.
And it's okay.
And you sit with that.
It's okay to have a different like you were saying. Okay, we're getting back to your question now. So I was saying the presence of your intention, but no, that too, but the presence of your focus, right? In terms of the tobacco plant. I mean, you've got ancient tribes that smoke tobacco. I mean, the Indian nation, the American Indians. So for me, okay, if you want to have a whiskey or smoke marijuana once in a while, I mean, some people that engage with me on certain sessions have asked me, is it okay to do marijuana? And I've said once in a while is fine, but if I pick up something funny, I'll say to them, it doesn't suit the essence of your body, the blueprint. Or they'll ask me about ayahuasca or whatever, and I'll say to stay away from that shit because it's going to lead you far down the rabbit hole. So the
I kind of like this moment we're at now, because as a medicine woman, it's a very interesting space with regards to plant medicines. Like those of you who know me may have done some work with me, but those of you who haven't taken any plant medicine, I feel like it's like reaching a point where it's like a little too much, too late. If you go down this hole. So at this now point, especially when we are embodying, and, it's asking us to be very connected to earth and nature. And of course, it's a super profound experience, but if you don't know what to do with it afterwards, look,
it's the integrity behind it. And I say this all the time, whether it's the integrity of your words, where we're talking about quantum, I don't know what they call it in the scientific term or whatever, it's got a special name, where the essence of your sounds can affect a million miles away in another universe, It's the presence of your intention. So the focus of your intention was pure, because your tobacco, you call it an addiction, right? And some teachers will have specific details in terms of not drinking, not smoking, not doing this, not doing that, not doing that. If that resonates with you, fine. That's your way, that's your path, that's your journey. The only thing that I would say, whoever you train with or whoever you engage with, is the intention and the integrity behind that. So your intention, and I know you, you know, I know that the presence of your hang on, I've got to wait for the word. The presence of your adventure. I'm going to call it an adventure because it is. Yeah. You are always seeking the true path. Okay? And I've mentioned to you on a few occasions, okay, this is good, or whatever, and I'm sure your other teachers have guided you on this path of expansion. But the presence of your integrity is always there. That is a huge, huge, huge difference than someone that is standing up on the fucking mountaintop screaming, you're not a vegetarian. You're drinking whiskey. Fucking eat a beetroot. Or I don't know. Whatever the fuck you're screaming at, you know?
Got you. Yeah.
There are more fucking doctors out there that are purer than some of these purists. Because they are, the integrity behind their work it has substance. It stands for something. Not only stands for something, you can smell it, you can taste it, so there's a huge difference. You know, but the presence of your journey. So, you know, I understand the aspect of the sacredness of the tobacco plant, and you honoring that. That's wonderful. But don't allow what I'm going to say to you now. Don't allow others to scare you. Don't allow others to manipulate you.
I think, you know, why I bring this up, not only for my own teachings, but is like, and I think this goes back to, we were ending this off last week about Kundalini. I think we just had a couple of minutes after our phone call ended, where I said, you know, is it possible that within a soul contract, you may not achieve a Kundalini activation, a full Kundalini activation within a specific incarnation? The reason I think this is important to discuss is much like the smoking of going, each has their own story in their adventure. And again, why I'm linking it to the tobacco and the same story is we begin to read esoteric books or occultism or metaphysics, and we're like, oh, okay, we've ticked that off. So the dopamine is going, and we're like, okay, we're achieving X, Y, Z. But when we don't fully achieve from our perspective, we believe we are failing, forgetting that there's a master plan, you know, and going, actually, it's not the same cut and paste mechanism for every soul, and that's just the end of that.
And that's what upsets me. Well, it pisses me off, actually, you know, because it's like, whatever you believe, that's great. If it resonates with you and it makes you happy and you're on your path and your chosen path, why would you want to go out and, okay, it's important to pose questions. I think it's very important, you know, to push the boundaries and to pose questions. But I mean, let other people believe whatever they believe. You know, if it makes them happy. I mean, if there's something constructive that you can add, if you pick something up or whatever the case may be, and that person resonates with you, or you resonate with that person, and there's a connection there for however long, whether it's a month, a year, a decade, or whatever the case may be, you two as individuals will know that. But to go out and to discriminately, like you were saying, you know, I don't know, some people are not going to sleep with other people or talk with other people or do what other people who's got the vaccination. I mean, it's, for for me, it's like, okay, great. That's what, how you move your boat. I don't judge that.
Yeah.
I can't judge that, because the essence of the journey that we are talking about, and you know this because you are experiencing it, right?
Yeah.
Is not that, and I speak from my experience again, there are so many gurus out there that talk about whatever. The spectrum is huge, and there are so many layers.
Yeah.
I do not go and listen to one guru.
Yeah.
You know why? Because for me, experience is the essence of understanding. And I take my experience more profoundly and more seriously than
Than what people say.
Yeah, and someone who thinks they're an expert. Because how do you, and I say this with the greatest of respect in terms of the centuries of lives I've experienced, in terms of the different areas from the 3rd century up until today, is that you will not understand the presence of sacred intention, sacredness, purity, the essence of humanity, the essence of evolution, the essence of everything that is, if you do not experience it. So how do I understand someone? How can I join a conversation? And this I take very seriously. How do I join a conversation with someone, or integrate my words with someone, because my words are coming from a place of integrity and essence? How do I integrate that with someone who's been abused? I will not do that unless I've been abused. How do I integrate the essence of my words if I have not experienced both my parents dying, my mother drowning in her fluid, and my father being shot 10 times? How do I engage in a discussion with somebody whose parents have died, or there's trauma because of murder, or whatever the case may be? How do I engage in a conversation with somebody who's just lost someone through death if I don't see death in terms of physical death? I mean, not physical death. Yes, physical death, I've experienced that, but the essence of death coming in. The presence of death coming in, because the presence of death is a presence. And in my eyes, I see it in a form. So how do I speak to people that have experienced death, or in terms of dying right there in front of me, right? And I see death coming in, or I see it in the future, or someone whose close family or friends have died. How do I engage in a conversation like that if I haven't even experienced it? So how do I sit here and engage in a conversation with you about galactical conversations if I haven't even experienced it?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the presence of integrity, I mean, there are various degrees out there, and that's great. That's
for sure. And I think, I think this comes down to, how once you're on your spiritual path and you're on a path of awakening, there is a crossroads where one can become quite judgmental. And I guess it's the reason I'm bringing this up is to just give a warning signal, judgmental on the self, so self-judgments as well as others, and be very cautious of that, like just to embrace your humanness. And I think it's very interesting because part of our show will speak about, okay, those unawakened moving to awakening, and the star seeds moving through awakening, and how we assist them. But another aspect is those that are awakened, how do we assist them to just be human and humble and of the earth, from earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We all that.
Look, the only, and I won't even say it's advice, because I don't like giving advice. I say what I see. I say what I see. I say what I've experienced through the history of time. you know, is that you look through the ages, and I always go back to history because that's the only way you can gauge the presence of evolution.
Yeah.
Is that, yes, humans have evolved in a great spectrum of science, you know. So even if you look at, for example, I'm just taking an example now, but true, yes, the first decade, second decade was full of these secret societies and the occult and the presence of magic, whatever you want to call it. And then from the third decade, you had the church that came in and basically just wiped everybody out. You don't understand how many miles of occult records there are in the Vatican vaults. You don't, they're miles of occult records because they just came in and wiped all these people out and said, okay, you talk about this, you discuss it, you breathe it, whatever, you're gone. You're gonna die, right?
Yeah.
So the church took over for I don't know how many hundreds of years, and now science has taken over.
Yeah.
You know?
And technology.
So the presence of evolution when it comes to, doesn't matter where you are on the spiritual spectrum, give people a chance to walk their journey.
Yeah.
I don't care how high you are, where you come from.
Yeah.
You know, the presence of sacredness begins there.
And the thing is, as well, is each soul is literally living a completely different reality. So how can one
and the experiences that you've had, you know, I mean, you don't know the journey that soul has walked, and that's what pisses me off. You know, I get upset with humanity because I've seen, I mean, I lost faith in humanity. You know this, you know?
Yeah.
Through experience, because I think they are the disease, you know, because of issues like not climate change, climate crisis, because climate crisis is not created by the planet Earth and the weather changes, and it's not an evolution of over the history of time. No, it's caused by humans. Yeah. So when you look at the integrity of souls, and you are mentoring someone, or if you're in a class, okay, I only speak for myself, is that I don't look at you as the whole. No, I look at you as you, your past, your experience, the presence of your sacred entity, whether you've been in the underworld or not, it doesn't matter, because even if you are a master, you have to experience the underworld to understand.
Of course.
You don't think I've been to the underworld.
Yeah.
You know, you have to experience that to understand what souls go through. So, I mean, you know, get off your high fucking horse, you know? It pisses me off, you know, because, I mean, okay, you think you know better, that's fine. But it's
people relaying their experience at this point in time. And that's important. Yeah.
And it means
that's
something.
Important. Yes.
It means something, you know.
But it doesn't have to mean something to the person who's listening. So yeah, this is what we're saying. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
You know, have a little bit of respect. I mean, I don't agree with some things that Brigitte says, but Brigitte's on her own journey. I don't come in there and say, oh, listen, babe, you know who I am. You know where I come from. Hey?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Yeah.
No, it's not right. It's not right.
Yeah.
So, getting back to your question. The presence of your integrity in terms of the tobacco. And I mean, tobacco is smoked still by the American Indians, by the Aborigines. And these are people, these are masters of ancient wisdom.
Yeah. And the elemental kingdoms,
And the elemental kingdoms, you know, so all I can say
But again, it's really beautiful, because when I got my hands wrapped by the spirit of tobacco, in the most beautiful way. And actually, what's interesting about this is the healing that they did on me. So I'll share. The tobacco that I was smoking was actually affecting the back part of my brain. So when I was dragging in, which was really interesting because the collective we that was the healer working with me, thought that it would be, I was having heart issues at the time, thought that it would be connected to my heart and my lungs, but it was actually creating a distortion in my brain. And it's because every time I smoked, I was literally like, I want to disconnect. I want to disconnect. Whereas tobacco, it's the complete opposing frequency of what tobacco does, is to connect you.
Yes.
So they used tobacco to heal me in the back of the brain, where this was my issue, you know. So this is, and I'm sharing this so people can be like, wow, that's super, super interesting. And again, the message was just, no one's asking you to quit. You just have to change your relationship with it.
Yes.
And now I look at it as the spirit of tobacco, you know, whereas, and it's so stupid because when the message came through, tobacco said to me, well, you have such reverence for the mushrooms. You know, it's like the holiest of holiest. You have ceremonies and we open space and you call in the angels and then you take your mushrooms. But you have fuck all reverence for tobacco. So since that little chatting to, every morning now I go and I sit on the ground and I have that smoke with my cup of tea and I call in my ancestors and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm connecting and I'm outdoors. You know, so it has changed and it's been awesome for me to witness. Working with the spirit. Yeah.
Look, the reverence of hang on, I have to get the right word here. The reverence of I'm going to call them chemicals. Let's call them chemicals because whether you look at it in terms of food or whatever, organic matter or chemical matter. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So with you and the tobacco, like the presence of the teaching that occurred was that it was used more of an escapism.
Yes.
Than as a tool to connect.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct.
That doesn't. It's like me and drinking a whiskey. I think specific whiskeys, not all of them.
Yes.
One in particular.
Like a good wine.
Yes, like a good wine.
Yeah.
It's for me art.
Yes. There's an appreciation happening. Yeah.
Because there's one specific wine estate where you feel the history of the vine grow.
Yeah.
You know, you feel the history of the integrity there. You feel the history of the words that are used. You feel the history of the passion and the presence of stories being told in this wine.
Yeah.
You know, you don't judge me now because I drink wine or whiskey. And well, you can judge me, it's fine. But I'm not going to stop drinking my whiskey because for me it's a form of art, and I taste it and I smell it and I see it, and it's an experience for me like you would connect to tobacco. I connect to my whiskey, or
it's interesting.
Specific bottle of that
wine.
There's a few bottles of wine, but the integrity of the vineyard is very high. You know.
It's interesting because the tobacco that I smoke is a certified organic tobacco, but also we know the CEO of that business. We've met with him because his tobacco was so good. And the next step that I want to take is actually ask him for a tobacco plant so that I can plant it, because I don't know if you've ever seen a tobacco plant. It's actually so beautiful. Like, it's such a beautiful plant. So I'm just moving through this process of really an admiration.
I think that would be a very good idea because there's a closer connection there. You'll pick up a lot more you'll pick up
and
a
for
lot
me,
more presence. Yeah.
yeah, and for me, it's interesting because these ladies I worked with a long time ago, they also tap into the Akashic as a team, a couple. They always said to me, they're like, you are a pipe carrier, you're a pipe bearer, like you are meant to smoke. Like we see you with a pipe and tobacco all the
Yes, I
time.
do too. Also ancient Indian, you've got a pipe and you've got
Yeah,
all these feathers. So, I mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's why I said to you, don't, I know you see the people who you see and
Mm,
you will listen to whoever, but don't get manipulated into, um, don't
yeah,
be manipulated into being afraid of looking
yeah,
deeper, of going further, because it's
yeah,
experience. It's a deeper
yeah,
understanding,
yeah.
you know?
And this is so one of my questions for this week was about merging timelines. I mean, this what we just spoke about now, like me being a pipe holder, a pipe bearer, or whatever you want to call it, linking back to my lineage of North American tribes. That is a merging of a timeline there. Like so, this
Correct.
information coming through.
Of course
Yeah,
it is. I mean,
yeah,
you know, that's what the history of time is. And
yeah,
that's when you start to ascend in your different frequencies. Whenever the
mm,
time is right, whenever the divine time is right, for
mm,
your DNA to activate at certain levels, because you have a certain, it's like spiders. You know, spiders are they are ancient wisdom keepers.
mm,
They've been on planet Earth for 300 million years, and
mm,
humans have been here for only 2.8. So the history of spiders' DNA, they
mm,
are ancient wisdom keepers.
mm,
They still hold that DNA,
yeah,
you know, and they use it in nature
yeah,
to
yeah.
do the, to spin their web.
And also,
And
this is interesting because it's like like you just said, the humans have been around for a way shorter period of
yeah,
time. Therefore, from a consciousness perspective, we are like, okay, cool. We are playing in our experiment here on Earth. We're like, oh, science, laboratories, information. And the other humans are like, oh, wow, just like sucking it all in as the truth, you know? So this is really interesting because it's like actually just
you
shut
don't
up and
know shit.
experience.
You
Yeah,
don't know shit.
yeah,
And that's also why I mean, humanity, and like I say, over the history of time, you see they only wake up when there's a disaster. So when the
yeah,
planet is burning, they're going to say, "Oh my God, we're in trouble." You know,
yeah,
or like all the creatures in our oceans that have been brought from other planets,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And the spider that's been here for 300 million years, and you've only been here a piss of a millisecond.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
I wanted to ask actually, like, it's been really in my field after this weekend. Like, I mean, I don't want to use the word worry because everything is vibration, but it's like, these movies that we watch that are super futuristic and art imitates life, life imitates art. The point I'm trying to make is if you look at a place like New York City or whatever, it's big city life. Like there are no animals other than in the zoos. And I'm like, obviously, I've been in nature this weekend and experienced like this incredible snake and this boomslang trying to, just in nature. And I'm like, I'm freaking out about there not being any animals, enough animals.
well, look, you mustn't
Like,
worry.
can you?
That's another thing. You mustn't.
That's what I'm
And
saying. I don't want to worry in the sense because there's a
no,
frequency and yeah, but
no, you mustn't worry. And I mean, I understand what you are saying because I feel this on a daily basis because I get so pissed off. But the
yeah,
thing is that you need to understand, right, the present state of um, Mother Earth. She's going to take care of everything.
yeah, she
You
will
know,
self-rectify.
the shift is happening. So
Yeah.
you know, planet Earth is going to a higher vibration.
Mm,
And those that don't align with it, okay, will come back in other lifetimes and will continue to come back until they get to a stage where they are able to ascend to a higher frequency, right? Nobody judges that.
Yeah.
And there are, I have to use the correct word here. Because when I get going on this shit, I get taps on the shoulder already, like stay calm.
Yeah, I can see you
yeah, I know.
shake.
Because it just, it's frightening that humans have become so stupid. They're stupid, and it pisses me off because they have the integrity of sacredness at their doorstep. What do? They piss it away. So the presence of your intention in terms of, and I feel for the animals, there's so many animals that have become extinct. I feel for the presence of the forests that are being cut down. You just need to remember that
Earth will do her thing.
She will do her thing. This process is going to take time over the next 100 years. That's if we don't get hit by a
solar flare.
Well, that too, yeah. Or one of those flying rocks. Yes, because that's what I saw. Yeah.
Oh wow! I had a dream about that, and it was like lucid as fuck. Like me with my dreams. There's the dreams, and then there's like 3D animated. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So essentially,
war. Yeah. Physical. Actual physical war. Because I see that too in the future prospects of
Me too.
So
me too.
The integrity of your presence. I'm not saying you need to wash these things out of your brain. No. You need to accept it. Accept the emotional influence that it's playing on the body. And then come to a greater understanding within yourself, right? Of what that really means to you. Because you have a lot of activists out there that are just woohoo! They've got their hands up in the air, but they don't really know what they're activating for.
Yeah.
And that's all the little I call it static. These humans that just put up their hands for the sake of putting up their hands to look good.
Yeah.
So it's also an opportunity to understand the presence of your emotions.
Yeah.
And how that affects your body.
But also just the human beingness. So it's like an exercise that I've been doing way more of, like especially surrounding work. I'm like, and my work is amazing. I love what I do, but there's way more time that I'm giving myself now to just do whatever the fuck I want and just be. And like you say, if it's like how much of your human nature can take the emotional charge that knowing that animals are becoming extinct, knowing that there's a meteor on the way, knowing there's solar flares, and knowing that there's wars in the prospective future. I mean, how much of that can you take? And then in that moment, with that profound information, you can be like, well, you know what? How about I just begin to start living my adventure a little bit more? And I think this is the storyline at the moment of like, are you spending all your time on Facebook, internet, or have you gone on a hike? Have you gone on that trip that you always dreamed of going? Have you kissed the girl that you were so nervous to kiss or whatever? Like, do these things.
Yes, or even trying to influence other people in terms of changing their perspectives or their viewpoint, which is great. A lot of artists do that, through their art, through writing books, gurus and teachers, yoga experts, whatever. Everybody has their own creative influence, It's the integrity behind that. What is the intention of how is the presence of your purposefulness, does it grow from a
honorable?
Is
it honorable?
Is it honorable?
Yeah.
So that's why I say to you, and I get very, I'm an activist in a, and I'll raise certain issues at certain points, on various themes, whether it's the climate crisis or women being raped or women being taken from, I don't know, Albania and put on drugs and prostitution. There's so much shit going on in this world. It's fucked up. This world is fucked up. Anybody who comes and tells me that it isn't, they need to go take a red pill. Because it is. It's completely messed up. But the experience of being in this chaos, it's a journey in itself. It's not pleasant, especially if you feel everything. If you feel for the whales and the dolphins and the fish and the everything on planet Earth except humans, because I don't really feel for humans. I'm going to be honest. I don't. I've light a match. I would rather spend my time. I find death more peaceful. When death comes in, I've been with quite a few people that have passed over that haven't had anybody there, and I've just been there in that moment, and I've seen death come in. It's more peaceful, and it's you know why? Because it's so truthful. There's no bullshit. There's no gray.
Can I read you something?
Yes.
Today I posted this. Hold on. It says, life asked death, why do people love me and hate you? Death replied, because you are a beautiful lie and I am a painful truth.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I experienced. That's why, I can talk to people that have lost, or I can be with people that are passing over, because I know when death comes in. I see it. She comes in, she sits there, and she waits. So, and it's so beautiful because she's so truthful. She's so honest. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
So that's
Can I ask, are people quite peaceful in those last minutes? Or do they still fight? Like, so from an eat? Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Majority.
The majority, because they have an opportunity to say whatever they need to say to whoever, or just speak, because speaking is also a form of movement. So even when you pass on, the energy is still there. The vibration of your words are still, you've expressed them, you've let them out, you've created something, you've left something behind. So I saw that with my mother. Terrible death, she drowned in her own fluid, but was holding on so tight. Didn't think that it would come so quickly. I would say that the same for my father, but he hated this place. He believed, he felt that this was hell. He couldn't wait to leave. So, but when he was shot, en route to where he was shot, I knew he wasn't going to make it because I already saw. But one essence is, there was a lady that we had dinner with once, and we found out that she was sick, and she was taken into hospital. She didn't have any family or friends, and we were there for 3 days. We went back every day. And like after the second day, I said to the nurses, she's suffering, she's holding on, you need to give her something, because I could already see that she was being, it's almost like the presence of her, how do I explain this? She had so much more to do. Or she thought she had so much more to do and to say, that the essence of her energy influenced the nurses in the hospice in terms of, I'm not ready to go now. Whereas when you put a certain drip in, it's like they go into a coma. But she was in so much pain. We had like these
morphine.
No, we had to keep her cool. We had to we had to put things in the freezer, and she was suffering. And like the second day, I went to the head nurse and I said, this is disgusting. I said, you need to do something. I want to speak to the doctor, because nobody was there for her. And it's like, look at her toes already. Look at her eyes. Look at her. She's suffering. She was in so much pain. And I said,
Wow.
she's ready to go now because death had come in the night before. She's ready to go now, but she's holding on so tight, you know. So it's dependable on the person. And then you have those that die and then have a near-death experience and then come back. It's really dependable on the soul, you know. It's not a one way thing. You know?
Yeah. I have to ask. I mean, if that is that you said death comes in, is death an angel? Or just I mean, I know.
No, death is an angel. Death is an angel.
Yeah. Is there a birthing angel?
Anybody who doesn't believe me, that's fine. Don't stress. Don't get your
knickers in a knot.
Your knickers in. I mean, I was going to say your panties, but okay, your knickers in a knot. Your panties in a knot.
We've got to use alliteration on the show.
You know, if you see death as something else, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But I guess this is where plant medicine journeys come in, where it's like, okay, cool. Now you've practiced having an ego death. And often people are like, have I died? I mean, I had one on the 8/8 portal, the Lionsgate portal, where I was like, have I died? And it was quite extraordinary because I was in such an expanded space that I was like, am I dead? And then I was like, and then, you know, I was like, I know I'm not, but like maybe I am. So it's just like this thing there. And then I thought, no, but there's no ambulances. And it was sad to me because I was like, so that's the only way I know that I've actually like left my physical body is like when I'm looking from, you know, a higher space and they take my body away. So that was the sad part where I was like, I don't really want that. I just want to decay where I end up, you know, just hopefully under a tree somewhere.
Yeah, that's a frightful thing, you know, when because some of these
it just seems so inorganic to me to be taken away. Like I get it on the earth plane, but I was like, so that was my like feeling. But like the other part of it was like, fuck, if I'm this expanded now, imagine what dropping the physical body must feel like. Holy shit. Like that is
and I mean some of these what do you call them? Funeral parlors are not
equipped.
No, they're not. I mean, it happened with my mother where she was, I'm not going to mention any names here, but she was picked up by one of these what's her names, and I picked up a thing and I went and I got her out of there very quickly. Because it was already locked up. They had locked up, and
I bet you there's some dodgy shit like organ selling and.
Not only that, it's like sexual predators.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
No, it's sick. And I mean, I rushed there.
But that's what I mean. This is a 3D process, but like we're only part of that 3D process because we've consented to do so because we're in a system. But like when I thought of death in that moment, I was like, no, just bury me in the ground and that's it. Like, don't.
I want to be burnt outside.
Or chucked in the sea or something. I know you'd want to be burnt.
Yes, but I want a big jazz party, lots of jazz, lots of whiskey, lots of cigars, lots of good food, lots of good music, and I want my body there, right there in front where everybody can see. Okay, not too close to the, you know, because once you like my body, you know, it doesn't smell too good. But out there, and
we have a big party around the bonfire.
You just light me up, baby, and then you start dancing around my flames.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be put into a box. Yeah. I don't want to be put into. Don't take me in a van. Don't take me to one of those mortuaries.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it. I experienced it with my mother, and then I had to. It was all locked up, and I was screaming outside.
But you see, this is actually like, you know, we talk about creating the new earth, like something like a how would you call it? A dimensional death doula service where you move from you move from pre-death.
Yes.
Yeah, pre-death to the death experience properly in a sacred shamanic context for people where there is honor given,
Yes,
not
that
moving
is
through the processes.
that is so important. I actually know somebody who wants to do that.
I think
We'll
it's, yeah,
we'll have a
a strat session.
we'll have a session on that as well, because I think it's so important, and I think they should also have there should be an organic I'll get the right word, but basically like these people that come and pick up your bodies.
Yes.
Yeah, but a sacred one, a fifth dimensional one.
Yeah.
And you have the option of having your body burnt in the forest, or having a
Yeah.
beautiful ceremony like you
Yeah.
know, with a wedding or something, instead of some
Yes.
ugly
Yeah.
parlor or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I don't know if I was speaking to you about this or not, but I've been thinking about, like, the photograph. Did I chat about this last time? I don't think so. Anyway, the photograph that you have at your funeral, which is usually in a church, which would probably bypass in the dimensional death doula process, but nevertheless, nonetheless, so you have the photo. Yeah, praise me. You have the photo of Auntie Sue there, and Auntie Sue's usually in whatever clothing, but actually the Da Vinci man, just standing there.
Yes.
I think all, if you're gonna have a photo, if you need the photo, it should be that person naked, because it's the physical body actually that you are.
Well, I don't know. I think you can run into some pretty you know how you people.
I don't know. I just think like everything else is a false identity in that moment. Like in the honoring, it's like of that body. Like it's like boom, here is the body.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thought process.
But the death doula thing is it's important, because, like I say, humans don't prepare for death. They prepare for their what is this thing you go on when you reach a certain
Kitchen
age?
teas.
No. When you reach a certain
Retirement.
age. Exactly. You spend like from your 20s, not that I did that, but you spend from your 20s like getting the right job, marrying the right woman, marrying the right man, having the right amount of children, living in the right suburb, driving the right car. Oh my God, eating the right food, going to the right church, and buying the right boat, and and then you save up enough money when you're 60, and then you die. And it's like people don't prepare for death.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's they should actually have a subject in school about this.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, last year when COVID hit, there was a massive thing on Facebook, everyone joining together. Okay, cool. We joining forces here. Great. Who wants to do what? Like, people from the community, sign up. I wrote there, hi there. I think this is a really important time to speak about death, and I would like to put up my hand to do so. Well, I never got contacted again. And essentially, I was providing the most direct solution.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, I was providing the most direct solution to filtering out all.
But
they
people
have
don't
no
want to
idea.
face that. They don't want to hear about death. They don't want to hear about children dying in Ethiopia that don't have any food, or
I know.
Humans don't want the dirty stuff. No. They want to wear Armani and Prada.
The illusion. Yeah.
So babes, you just carry on smoking your tobacco on your lawn.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna call him and I'm gonna get a tobacco plant. I have that's something I'm gonna do, because I'd like to. By the way, I think I'm moving to Europe next year.
Oh, okay. I think I'm moving to New York City.
Really?
Yeah, well, I got this scholarship. I went for this audition Did I tell you?
Yeah. No.
Okay. So I was, because I've been aligning my timelines, and
Yes.
things have been like hectic. I'm changing from building to I don't know what.
Acting or producing or
Well, I
filmmaking.
wasn't aware at that stage. It's been a long lull of 18 months of like serious tough times.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the computer, and I'd done a photography shoot for this youngster, to give his photos into his whatever.
Yeah.
And I joined his Instagram accounts, and I saw his post come up with these auditions.
Yeah.
I thought, I need to get out of it. Just to like, breathe, see something different, just get out.
Yeah.
So I emailed them and I said, okay, is an age restriction? Because there's a lot of young people on that thing,
Yeah.
And they came back and said, no, there's no age restriction. So I went to the auditions. I entered for, this was funny. So I entered for acting.
Yes.
Music.
Yes.
And yeah, acting and music.
Photography.
No, not photography. No.
Oh.
It's all creative art. So it's either acting,
Yeah.
music, acting, singing, dancing, or modeling. Those are the four categories. Okay. So I entered for 3 because I can.
Yeah.
I entered for the acting, the singing, and the modeling.
Yeah.
And then they emailed like a week later saying, okay, these are the clothes that you have to wear, and then they mentioned you've got to wear high heels, and I thought, no, okay, fuck that, I'm not going to do the modeling. So I entered the singing and acting. You go to a hotel, you line up, you pay your entrance fee or whatever. And I practiced a piece from, I've never done acting in my life before, I just thought it'd be nice just to get out.
Yeah.
What's that series, The Mockingbird, Danger Games, or what? The Danger Games, or the what games?
Yeah.
Something games or something, I don't know. There's a fire, brimstone, whatever.
Yeah.
So I did a piece from that, but I did it in a Scottish accent.
Okay.
So I did that, and I did my singing. Anyway, I got a call back. Now, I don't know what the auditions was about. A call back. I didn't know anything. I just wanted to take a walk in the park.
To play.
Get some fresh air.
Yeah.
So I get overall good singer, and then I get a call back for both acting and singing, to audition in front of these very high-profile American judges.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Netflixes and the Tyler Perry Studios and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So from this audition that you get a call back to, where you have to perform in front of all these American judges, you get a call back to New York, right? If you are selected. Are you still there? Yellow? Oh God, you were moving in slow motion.
Hey, I'm here.
Okay, you were like.
Okay, stop.
Okay. So you're moving in slow motion. Okay, anyway, so I get the call back. You perform in front of these 7 judges. Very, la-ni-da. All of 7 have to decide if you have got something. So anyway, so I get selected for this call back to New York to go audition in New York next year in June. But then, so it's at the end of the show. Everybody was all the contestants. There were like, because there were 3 nights, because there were so many. There were like 300 contestants altogether. So they've split us up into 3. So the first night, okay, it's at the end of the show. They're closing, and all these contestants are standing in this corridor, and I'm thinking, Jesus, I can't take this. It's too fucking hot. And these people are standing too close to me. So I disappeared to the backstage and I sit there and I've got this huge, like 100-meter square open area and I'm sitting back. And then they start calling out the scholarships because the American Music and Dance Academy was here giving out scholarships. They were obviously part of the selection process of the judges.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to wait for this to finish, then I'll go into the front where everybody else is standing.
Yes.
No, they go out and they call and this one and that one gets a scholarship and blah, 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 blah. And then the thing is, and the next number is 158.
Justine.
No, they don't call out your name. You've got a tag.
Oh.
Number
Okay.
158. That name sounds familiar. This dude was sitting behind me. It was only two of us on backstage. He sang the La Bamba song. I looked back at him and I said, that sounds familiar. Is that? He said, yeah, that's you. So anyway.
Wow.
Anyway, so I wasn't expecting it. You know, I've never acted in my life before. I'll do a little preview for you now for the ending of this show. Right.
Okay.
So anyway, so I ran to the front because I was like half undressed already.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got a scholarship to study in New York, a $60,000 scholarship.
Wow, Justine.
Yeah. So
amazing.
Okay, so you are going. You said you might be going to Europe. Where in Europe?
I'm not quite sure, but Sweden is calling me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you look Swedish.
My guide, it's come up like I got a call from another friend who's in, SEA. He was like, you're supposed to be going to Europe. I was like, yeah. I kind of already knew it, but I've just left it. Then
yeah.
I left it, and then he told me, and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I know. And then I did a session with Maria, and she said, look, this is not my work. I don't work in that space of telling you what you're meant to do, but you've been told this, and this because they want you to be there. So you're supposed to go to Europe next year. So. That's
lovely. That's interesting. You see, everything happens in divine timing, hey?
Yeah.
It's like me. I was planning to go to France, to the French Alps.
Yes,
and then
I know.
Then I went for this audition, and now I've got the scholarship in New York.
Yeah.
So anyway, I can come visit you in Sweden, and I can have what do you call this? A sauna.
Swedish soiree.
A
Swedish soiree.
Swedish sauna. Yeah, and you can come to New York and have a bagel, darling.
Thank you. I'll come.
It's a kosher bagel. God, let's not upset anybody on this program. It's a kosher bagel.
All right, cool. Well,
okay.
I think we're done there. Are you going to give us a debut?
Yeah, yes, I am. Okay, I've got to. So I did a piece from Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so let me prepare myself. Have a swig of my whiskey, darling. That's Sean Connery.
You're so funny.
Okay. Right. I hope I can remember my words. Because it's a different monologue that I did for the second audition. Okay. Wait, let me take my glasses off. Okay. I'm just getting the words, I'm bringing them in. Oh, Agent Starling, you think you can dissect me with that little tool? You're so ambitious, aren't you? You know what you look like to me with your good bag and your cheap shoes? You look like a rube, a well-scrubbed hustle rube with little taste. Good nutrition has given you length of bone, but you're not more than one generation from poor white trash, are you, Agent Starling? And that accent you're trying so desperately to shed. Pure West Virginia. What's your father, dear? Is he a coal miner? Does he stink of the land? And oh, how the boys found you. All those sticky fumblings in the back seats of cars, while you could only dream of getting out, getting anywhere, getting all the way to the FBI. Yay! Where's my Oscar? Where's my Oscar? Where's my Oscar? Here's my Oscar. Yay! Thank you, baby. Thank you, darling. I got an Oscar. So
I love it.
maybe New York next year. I'm waiting to see where heaven is sending me. You know, like I said, I was planning for France, and we'll see.
Actually, I'm going to write this down this time, but just because I know you went to France to go check out the psychic kids a while back, right? We
Yes,
can bring that into the
they are
next
called.
topic.
Yeah, we can do
The
that.
super psychics, or
what are they called?
I know there was a different name.
Yeah, it was a different name.
France. But
it's basically the crystal children, you know?
Yeah, of course.
It's the crystal kids, yeah.
Yeah. Well, clearly you're meant to be in New York, and this is how we flow.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'll come have a shawarma and you come have a bagel, darling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Galactic Conversations, podcast 4. Thank you to Justine and her incredible accent, to Anthony Hopkins, and we'll see you guys next week.
Okay, babes.
Cheers. Bye. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Oh.